All right. So it appears we are live on Facebook. It always makes me nervous because,
Cool.
I can't see, but Heidi Foy with Bullfrog Creatives. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's Wednesday. It's not Monday. I'm not going to lie. That's totally messed up my day. Not that I want to relive another Monday. However, like I just get used to my schedule and I do this on Mondays. So, yay, special edition. So today I have Miss Jill Franzen Loden, which I'm sure that you have dropped Franzen at this point, but like it's always gonna like haunt you. You're never gonna be able to
No,
drop
I
it,
kept
I
it.
think.
I
So
kept it. I just added.
yes, good idea. I mean, who doesn't want the longest signature in the world?
Exactly.
I don't know. I lucked out. I went from Wilkinson to Foy, so I went the other way.
Yeah,
Um,
you shortened up.
Yes. And I moved up in the alphabet, which I'm not going to lie, when I was younger, that was my goal, but I didn't really think that that was going to happen because you can't plan this stuff. But I did. Okay, so this is what happens when you
That's
talk to
funny.
friends, like you go on weird side streets.
On
So,
tangents.
yes, yes. And I would say that that's kind of my MO anyways. But so today we have Miss Jill on, and Jill has done all the things that anyone that loves rodeo and loves music would want to do. So before we talk about that, we're going to go backwards just a little bit because I am kind of OCD. I like to talk about things in chronological order. So let's talk about, so obviously Jill and I met many years ago. Um,
Yes.
so I was older, I am older than Jill. So we did not necessarily high school rodeo together, but so many things like my dad was the president of the WRA. Your dad was probably maybe not quite or just starting Powder River stock contracting. And so all of these things kind of happen. And then as we have learned on this broadcast, rodeo is just a really big, small family, small community. And so we
Yes.
just know each other. And so even though we did not rodeo together, which I'm not going to lie, we could have gotten
I
so
think
much.
we did a year, actually.
Yeah. In high school?
I think 1 year we did. Yeah,
Okay.
I think 1 year.
Yeah, that's
I think
probably
one.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if we would have been any closer in age, it could have been lots of trouble.
We've been tears.
Yes. So
Yes.
so we met in high school. I went to the Big Sky region for college rodeo. You stayed in the Central Rocky Mountain region. So talk to us a little bit about where you went after high school and kind of your college rodeo experience.
Okay, so I went to the University of Wyoming and I rodeoed there for 4 years. And breakaway and barrels were my events. And I loved University of Wyoming. I met one of my bestest friends to this day, Taya Ellerman. And I'm still really good friends with a lot of the girls that we still all went to school with. So that was, I mean, we were like a little family there. And I actually started a major in accounting and finance. Yeah, and I don't know why, but I finished in business administration. And so the good thing is it only took me 5 years to finish. So only a little bit longer than my college rodeo. So that was awesome. But it's so funny that you and I are talking about this because Billy Sutton has just sent me a picture the other day of one of our college rodeo pictures, and him and I, for some reason, I don't know why Sutton and Franzen were next to each other in the book, but we were. And he just sent me a picture the other day of both of us college rodeo, and so it's kind of cool. But I loved college rodeo, and I love the Central Rocky region too. I think I liked it because, for one, I was pretty acquainted with the state of Wyoming and all the fairgrounds, but it was a great group of guys and girls then, and I'm sure it's still now, but it was really cool when I was in school.
Yeah, it's way better back when we were going, I'm sure.
Right? Back when they bucked. That's what I always
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
So
So it's funny you say that because I've catch myself saying, well, we had to tie billy goats at this college rodeo in Havre one year. And I vividly also remember my mother saying that to me. So we're our mothers now, which I mean, that can be
yeah,
good and bad.
right.
So University of Wyoming, Obviously you were there, clearly when George Howard was still there. What a great
Mhm.
program. I get so many questions about why I didn't stay in Wyoming to rodeo. And I really have no reason other than I just went where I was offered money. I mean, I did not.
Yes.
So it's so funny because I did not do the research that I am now encouraging other student athletes to do. So learn from my mistake. Not that I would have chosen
Yeah.
differently, but I feel like I just went where the money was instead of like seeking out other institutes. So do as I say, not as I do. There you go. Pulling that mom one out of the bag too.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm like oozing with mom things lately. Um, so after college, I'm blown away by the fact that you went from an accounting major. Business is not as bad, like business administration. You can kind of go anywhere with that. I never would have guessed that you started with accounting,
Yeah.
um, given what you're doing now. So let's talk about like, I'm real interested. Talk to me about your experience with your parents and the work that they did and how that kind of, well, clearly steered you to where you are now.
So being a stock contractor's daughter, you get a job whether you like it or not, and you will be put in all different places. I had to carry the American flag, a ton. I had to do a lot of sponsor flag stuff, and to put it lightly, I was not queen material. Um, I did not like it at all. And so I wanted a different job. I didn't want to be with the queens, and I didn't want to be the flag carrier anymore. Bless their souls. I just didn't want to do it. So I got to know what head announcer. His name was Chad Nicholson. He is passed now, but he was working for my folks, and his wife at the time was doing music, and I was super intrigued by it. But I was kind of terrified at the same time. And just so happened, Chad came into a bull riding in Sydney, Montana, and they had nobody to run music. And my mom's like, well, Jill do it. And I thought, yeah, I'll do it. And then I sucked at it. And I thought, well, that was a one and done thing. That was great. Thanks for coming, And so then Chad sat me down and was like, no, there's actually there's a place for you here. Like he said, you didn't, of course, he didn't think I did as bad as I thought I did. And he's like, I think that you could help me out this next summer as a summer job working for your parents. I'll set the sound up. I'll hook you up with music and teach you. And like I said, I love music. I mean, naturally, but I didn't know I was cut out to do that. And oh my gosh, that summer, my first pro rodeo was Grand Junction, Colorado. And I overhauled Chad's music. He had great music, but like after I went into this, I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be good. And so I overhauled his music. And back then, like I said, we were on CDs, tapes, and mini discs. So it wasn't like you just edited a song. Like you literally had to listen to the whole song to cut it the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
And so I did all that. And then, like I said, the rest is history. I fell in love with it. And I cannot believe that it's taken me this to here. Like I thought this was just gonna be a summer job at the time. And then my folks, let's see, I want to say like 3 years later is when I went with my folks to our banker and I said, I'm going to be a music director. I need a loan for sound. And the guy was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds great. And so I bought Chad's system and then bought my own equipment. And that's when I formed Jill Sound. So
that's crazy. I mean, just thinking about, one, again, like rodeo is one big kind of family community, but introduction after introduction, and you can do this and you can do this. I mean, that's kind of how I ended up working with you at the college finals, was through my experience. Listen, I didn't have any experience. I didn't know what I was doing, but just through knowing people in rodeo. And so it's so fun to hear your story and how it kind of evolved, but also thinking about when you started and how long ago it was and how you, like, I've watched you do your sound, like right next to you, watching you put this stuff together, and it is so much different now. I mean, being able to like cut something right here, right now, and use this section of it, rather than like listening to that whole song. And it's something that I think if you attend
Yeah.
rodeos, like you know that it's there, like it's the music, and it definitely adds to the like the environment and the atmosphere, but it's not something that you really think about. I don't know, as you're watching it, it's not something you think about like, who's doing this music? And so what a great
Yeah.
opportunity.
And if you do, it's not good. I
Right.
mean, if music becomes prominent in a show, then you're not doing your job. You just want to enhance the experience of the spectator and the environment. You don't want to take over. And so you're right. If you're doing it good, or anybody is, then you just like, oh, this is cool. I like it. But if
Yeah.
it's bad, then you're like, the heck?
Well, and I don't think I mean, I just didn't realize, oh my goodness. So I don't think you were doing the CNFR the first year that I did the opening ceremonies or the opening production stuff, but like it was rough. And it was probably rough by the time you got there too, because it just every year there was always this set of circumstances that you had to overcome, or, something that went randomly wrong that one performance and you never had to experience it again. But having not been on that side of the production, I've run cattle through and I've worked the chutes, and have not worked the buck and end shoot, which I'm sure that you were stuck back there several times, but like you
Yes.
understand kind of that side of production. But then when you are a part of the show and part of making it really customer friendly, which is totally not a word that you use in the rodeo industry, but customer friendly and making it part of the entertainment side of it, then you see a whole different side of the rodeo that you never saw before. So was that, did you always know that was there, or was that kind of a new introduction for you when you started with Chad?
I mean, of course, growing up, I understood production, and one thing that I think gave me an edge in music directing is because I knew when they broke out. I knew when a good ride was about to happen. I know what was going on before somebody had to tell me. I knew what the ins and outs of rodeos on both aspects. So when I started putting music to the show, I knew what music would fit and wouldn't fit just by, I guess, being around it. And nowadays people kind of press the envelope a little bit and play different things that maybe not you wouldn't think that would fit in a rodeo, but they actually do. I mean, as long as you are tasteful and you have good timing with it, right? But my rodeo background is what helped me. And then, editing and being quick on the computer took a little bit to evolve to that, because I trained completely different. I mean, I had a 4 mini disc player with a CD and a tape player in a studio rack that I would have to time everything out for the rodeo. And now it's a click of a button. And how you set up your computer and how you, set up your events is completely different. So there was a little bit of a learning curve there for me, going from starting where I started, where a lot of other new music directors are able just to go straight from the iPod to the computer,
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, that helped me a lot, just having the background in rodeo to begin with.
Yeah. So just on a side, I was going to say, on a side note, the sun is starting to come around. It's coming in that window. Thanks for fixing that.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty crazy to think like where that part of rodeo has come. I mean, clearly there's lots of changes, I feel like, inside the arena also, but I don't know, that one I think on the production end is one of the bigger ones. So let's talk about, I feel like when you first started doing Jill's sound, you had to have had like a goal in mind, or were you just like shooting from the hip? I'll take what I can get. I mean, if you had a goal in mind, what was like the rodeo or the event that you had on your bucket list? Like, this is my goal. When I get here, like I made it. I'm good.
So my goal was to be booked all year. I wanted a crazy schedule. I wanted to be booked. I wanted the all night drives. I wanted I'm doing this and I'm living it. And I wanted to make a living at it. I didn't want to have 2 jobs. I wanted to be able to solely be able to work at doing sound and music. And I'm unique. And there's a lot of the original music directors are actually sound. They provide sound too. So I don't just go in and do the music. I also provide a lot of sound for all my rodeos. The new music director kind of just brings their computer and plugs in, and it's whatever they want to do. I prefer having the whole kit and caboodle, and that's how I kind of learned as well. So but yes, so that was my goal. And I unbelievably, after 5 years of going hard and having great references, Chad Nicholson helped me out, Hadley Barrett helped me out, Benji Bendelli helped me out. I got in with all the big dog announcers, and it's not just what you know, it's who you know, and word of mouth. And I'm one of the longest going music directors. I mean, I feel young still, but for a 21 career, there's only a few other music directors that have been in it as long or longer as me. And so I'm blessed to be able to get my foot in the door to a lot of those rodeos. And I'm lucky that they have kept me. I just was at Gooding, Idaho. They were one that was able to go in the pandemic, and I've been there 15 years. And it was so surreal to me that I had been there 15 years already.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, so you mentioned the pandemic. So I think every broadcast we've talked a little bit about it. I guess, so what's the average number of events that you would go do in a good year?
Oh, about 40, probably
Okay.
40 events. And then, I don't even know, that might just be rodeos. I got asked that the other day and I had to count, which is, but about 40 events, 40, 50 events a year. And for example, I was in Rodeo Austin in March, and I had set everything up, and we literally did rehearsal all day. And then pandemic hit and we were shut down that Friday. Houston was shut down the day before. And at that moment, I was like, not sure what was happening. I've rodeoed my whole life, and I've never, rain or shine, tornadoes. I mean, it didn't matter, you rodeoed. Yeah. And so it was so weird driving home and being like, what is happening? And so from that moment on till now, I've only had 7 or 8 events. And I usually am booked every weekend from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And then, throughout my fall. So it was devastating.
Yeah, for sure. So, I know that, we talked about this a little bit off camera. I'm trying to figure out a good segue, and there's just probably not one. So I'm just going to go. We talked about this a little bit off camera, that the PRCA kind of started recognizing the sound director and the music director in 2018. And that was the year that you won the music director. And so this is a whole new ballgame. Like, I have zero experience, but I feel like it's become more public knowledge that the cowboys and cowgirls can choose who they, I guess, their favorites. So there's always, like, I knew Buck and Horse of the Year, Bull of the Year, that kind of stuff, but they also can choose like any like contract personnel of the year. So you get nominated for this, the first year that they have it in 2018. Like, I guess, what are your feelings around
2017 actually was the first.
Okay, 2017. So you were nominated and won in 2018.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Yes. Yep.
So I guess, I think, talk to me about how you felt that first time that you got the nomination. And then again, obviously your whole family was there in Vegas. They make this presentation at the award ceremony. Just kind of talk us through that and how it felt to you.
So the first year I was nominated was in 2017, and that one was very special because my husband was also nominated for Bullfighter of the Year, and my folks were nominated for Stock Contractor of the Year. And I actually believe Craig at Midnight was Bareback Horse of the Year that exact year. So, and then I think D&H Cattle had a bull. And so our table, for instance, the tables I think sit 10 or 12 anyway. Everybody sitting at our table had a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really special because, like I said, music directors never really had that. And I got to be a part of all that. So then in 2018, I was nominated. And of course, to just be nominated, you win. And in the fact that there is thousands, I mean, I guess not technically thousands, but there's a bunch of people to choose from. And there's a lot of people that have different opinions in who they want to put in that top 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so to make the top 5 out of all those people, thinking that much of you to be in there, I mean, to me, I feel honored to have your name being selected. And, but in 2018, it was really special because Chad Nicholson was the one hosting and emceeing the event that night. And to win it and be on the stage with him and him to provide me my award, it was very, very, very special. And then we lost him that next year. And so that was one of the most special moments for that reason. But yeah, I mean, and then to be nominated again, in 2019 and now it's something that you would think maybe would get old hat, but it's not. I mean, being nominated and a pool of good, very talented people, and have your colleagues, the ones who select your name. I mean, that's a good feeling. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, for sure. So earlier in the year, I had Boyd on just to kind of talk about the state of rodeo in general. And he was saying that as announcer of the year, you have to work X number of events or rodeos. Is it the same for like sound director, music director?
Yes, you have to qualify. So you have to have, it's the same as announcers. I believe it's 8 rodeos and 20 performances. And I want to say something else too, but yes, you basically got to qualify. You got to have your qualifications. And, and you also have to select yourself. So like at the beginning of the year, you put in for like circuit finals, Wrangler National finals and all that. And then you have to list the rodeos that you have worked so they can verify that you've done that. So yeah, I mean, you have to put in the work to be able to be on the list for sure.
So how did that change this year? I mean, I assume kind of all the rules are thrown out the window and everything got adjusted down, adjusted accordingly. But what did the qualifications look like for this year?
So they went ahead and combined 2019 and 2020 together. But really, technically, the rodeo year starts in October.
Right.
It doesn't go from January to December. So a lot of the people were able to work events, were able to count those rodeos. Yes, and so that worked. And so that's kind of how they did it this year. They combined the 2 years. So people were able to have the qualifications. And, I was very fortunate because I was devastated that I only had 7 or 8 events since the pandemic started, but I have friends that only had 1 or 2 or none. And so, I'm throwing my sucker in the dirt over here going, gosh, dang, I just want to work. And then I talked to one of my good friends and they're like, well, I haven't got to do any. And so then you put yourself in check, and I'm very lucky I got to do what I did.
Yeah, for sure. So do you know if it was similar for like the stock contractor of the year and buck and horses of the year? They kind of combined the years.
Yeah. Yep. They pretty much did that for all qualifications. They combined 2019 and 2020.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So let's talk a little bit more. We've talked a lot about Jill Sound, but I put in the comments that we were going to talk about college rodeo, momming, and all the other things. So all the other things being who knows what else, but momming in particular, I know that you were a stepmom before you became a biological mom. I also took that route, and I felt like the learning curve, like when I first started with my stepkids, I was like, man, there's a learning curve here that I missed. And I hope that I learn more when I can start at ground zero, because it was tough. And I know we've had tons of conversations about that, but talk to me a little bit about your kiddos and your family. And I know now, which clearly I just wasn't paying attention. Weird. That you're back in Wyoming. So I guess just talk to us a little bit about that.
So I'm very lucky. I take my kids with me everywhere. They are rodeo bums, just like I grew up as a rodeo bum. They all summer, well, like I said, not so much this
Right.
summer, but usually they're on the road with me, and they love it. They have friends in every town, every rodeo, extended rodeo family, right? And
Yep.
so that momming on the rodeo road is really, really fun. It's also challenging trying to work, and trying to, you know, find places. Holden's getting older now. He's going to be 5 in January. So, but I had nannies that come on the road with me and helped me, because, you know, shoot, I would, you know, you'd set up sound, or like during the day I'd have production meetings and things I had to do. And so I wasn't always able to be there with the kids, but with an extended rodeo family, you know, they're somewhere, you know, taken care of typically. So rodeoing with that's been awesome. Moving back to Wyoming has been wonderful. We still have a piece of Texas that we miss and love, probably the weather, but we it was so awesome to be able to move back and be close to my folks and raise our kids around my mom and dad. So I was around my grandparents when I was younger, and I wanted to give that to my kiddos. And the rodeo company is so fun for them to be a part of. So not just being around mom and dad as contract personnel, but being part of stock contracting part of it, and seeing the animals being born, and you know, with grandpa out there sorting. And so that was really important to us to give that to our kids. So and yes, being a stepmom has been the most rewarding and challenging job I've ever been given. Caden Loden has blessed my life in so many ways. At the same time, it's been very challenging. But I don't even and ever really say stepson anymore. People just know that he's ours, and he's my bonus child, and I just consider him my other son. So yeah,
for sure. So my mama says hi, by the way. She's watching on Facebook.
Hi.
It's kind of nice. You know, I get married, I get a new last name, and then when my family are the only ones commenting and watching, then nobody knows. Unless you out yourself, which I normally do. Right. So I think, I mean, I have, believe it or not, like run out of questions. I of course didn't write questions down because I knew that we would just be able to pick up wherever. I have a story to tell. It's nothing bad, but I know when I was doing production for the CNFR, and I worked with Benji 1 year, which was great. That was my first year. I probably feel more bad for him than I do for you, because like literally at the performance, they were like, oh yeah, you have to call the spots and tell them when to turn on. And I was like, I don't even know what call the spots means. Like, what does that mean? So I feel like maybe you kind of lucked out a little bit not being there my first year, but I can say that every time I walked up on that stage and I saw you and Boyd there, like as irritating as it probably was to work with a newbie, like y'all made me feel so comfortable and welcomed me into the family. And I just have never forgotten that. So thank you. And
well,
I
you
would
were
say
good at it though. I mean, you knew what you were doing.
Well, I didn't, but I apparently was very good at faking it. I do miss it. However, my kids started saying like, we want to go to the rodeo. And I'm like, you can't, I have to work the rodeo. Like both those two things don't go together. So I feel like they're old enough now that I could work the rodeo and they can just run around the event center willy-nilly, which is funny because that's what I did.
They can run around with the Loden boys.
Yes, that you say like you grow up at rodeos. Like when my dad was the WRA president, he had the first rodeo in the event center, and I was all over that place, and everybody knew that I was Jerry's daughter. I kind of still act like that. Like I just go wherever I want to, even though nobody there is the same. I don't know. It's one of those things that you don't.
I think that's part of being a rodeo kid, though. You're like,
yeah,
why am I buying a ticket? I'm at the rodeo.
Yes, so much. Like I'm with them. I'm not buying a ticket.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny. So thank you. I've always appreciated that. And I don't know, maybe someday I will get to come back, or I will just do live interviews from behind the stage, and I won't do it again. Who knows where this is going to go. But so I think I'm so grateful that you have joined us, and I want to wish you luck and congratulations on your nomination. I think I totally understand it. It starts to change from like, I'm so lucky to have this nomination to, I can't believe I've been nominated so many times. And just having had worked with you in the past, I would say that you totally deserve it. Your passion is in it, and you really put so much effort into making it a good show. And if they don't know it, those people that do work with you definitely know it. So thank you for what you do for the industry.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So I think we did have some people watching live, so that is always reassurance. We only had one comment from my mama, which I appreciate. And if you all have any other questions, or you want to know how you can get into this, or I don't know, any of the things, you want to know why I do this, you can ask that question too. Thank you guys for tuning in live. Thank you. If you are rewatching, please post your questions below. A few things, because this month has totally gotten away. I had all these great plans of posting blogs for breast cancer awareness and life and birthday parties, which apparently I forgot about when I made those.
And Halloween.
Whoops. So a couple of mentions. We did partner with a small boutique here in Casper called The Painted Pony, and I want to give a shout out to Miss Heather for listen, I don't know if you all have watched Yellowstone, but here's my new shirt. It's about the Duttons.
Oh,
I love it.
Yes.
So she has this on her website at thepaintedponyo.com. And the other shout out is, of course, to Cinch, as they have also jumped on board to help me to bring you all of this, whatever it is, the goodness that I bring about college rodeo. And one more shout out, because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I know that my mom is watching. We went through a scare last year, and everything is fine. Everything is wonderful. She is doing very well now, but it has definitely brought more attention to the fact that when you turn 40, which some of us already have, get your mammogram and get your butts out there. Just get them checked. Prevention is worth more than the cure. So get in there and get that done. And I want to do a special thanks to Wyoming Foundation for Cancer Care and an organization out of Montana called Chicks and Chaps. So they have given us some goodies. And y'all, I don't think you guys are paying attention. There are 2 giveaways on the Facebook page right now. One for a Cinch gift certificate, and another one for some pink swag that we have gotten from both of those organizations. So get in the game. Everybody likes free stuff. And I mean, I could use some more jeans. So if you guys don't enter, then I will just use them myself. That's fine. And there are actually 2. So if you follow us on Facebook, you can enter there. If you follow us on Instagram, there's another gift certificate on that platform too. So go now, do it. And I think that's it. All the business boxes have been checked. And thank you, Jill, so much for joining me today. And hopefully, I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll be able to make it to the NFR someday and I can do something creative with you at that point. Otherwise, listen, I'm going to track you guys down at the CNFR next year, because it is going to come back. And then we'll do some fun stuff next year also. And I might reach out to you again.
Yes, for
because
sure.
Who knows? I know. I'm going to get this email from somebody and they're going to be like, you need to have Jill back on. She's awesome. And then I will.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. And we will, a little tag. I'm kind of excited for next week. Now, while this gentleman did not college rodeo, which I didn't know that, he was there when I was college rodeoing. So next week, we're going to have Flint Rasmussen on the broadcast. If y'all have been lucky enough, oh my gosh, he's so funny. And there's a little story when I was college rodeoing that we kind of had some fun together. So I'll tell that story next week. I know y'all like my stories. So tune in on Monday and we will chat with Flint Rasmussen. So thanks, Jill. You have a good day. See you guys.
Bye.